So welcome everyone. I have Priyanka and Jen, and we're here to do a 45-ish minute flow, hip openers, level 2. If you are new to my class, new to my teachings, then I recommend stop the video, go and watch the very short 5-minute video tutorial on Warrior 2, triangle, and extended side angles, so that you will understand some of the cues that I'm giving when we get to those poses. And you might take a run through Chaturanga or the Vinyasa as well, so that you know that you're doing that properly and stably. We'll get started at the front of the mat in Tadasana mountain pose. And coming into the pose, let your eyes close for a moment and let your awareness drop down into your feet. So if you're like me, if you're like most of the people in this Western world, you spend a lot of time in your head. So give some time for your consciousness to drop back down to planet Earth. Feel the texture of your mat underneath your feet. And start to rock gently forward, coming to the balls of your feet, and then rock back, coming to the heels, rocking back and forth. And playing with going to the edges, to the boundaries, playing with gravity. And the next time you pass through center, pause and start to rock and shift from side to side. And the next time you pass through center, hold there, bring a little bend to your knees, a little springiness. Lengthen your tailbone towards the ground. Gently firm your belly button up and in towards your ribs, and then lift your chest, lift your sternum. Start to root down through your feet, lengthen up tall through the crown of your head. Let your eyes flutter open. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. With your exhale, bring a little bend to your knees, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, hands to your shins. And then exhale, plant your hands, step back, plank pose. And pause in plank. Firm your thighs in. Find a little length for your low back. Send your tailbone towards your heels. Engage your core, draw your navel up and in. And then shift your weight forward. You can come down to your knees if you like. Slowly in one long line, lower all the way down to your belly. All the way down to your belly. And if you didn't end up with your elbows over your hands, go ahead and slide your hands back a little bit until they stack underneath the elbows. Root down through your feet. Firm your thighs in. Lengthen your low back by sending your tailbone back, and on your inhalation, pull your heart forward and up, baby cobra. And exhale, lower down. Again, inhale, pour forward and up, baby cobra. And exhale. And one more like that. Inhale, pull forward and up, baby cobra. And exhale, release down. Press your hips back to your heels, coming into child's pose. And from child's pose, lift your hips. Come to all fours. And then walk out to plank pose. And from plank, keep your hands and feet exactly where they are. Press back, downward facing dog. I'm finding a nice long down dog. Pausing in down dog this time. Spread your fingers wide. Push into your hands. Lengthen your arms. Lift your shoulders up past your ears. And then wrap the outer edges of your arms towards the floor. Lengthen the sides of your waist as you lift your hips up and back. And from your outer hips, stretch down through your outer heels. And take one more breath. And then come onto the balls of your feet, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step to the front of your mat. Inhale, lift up, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Root down, inhale, come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, and exhale, Samasthiti. We'll do 2 more like that, modified sun salutations with a little extra love in cobra. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, lengthen. Exhale, step or hop back. Pause in Chaturanga, so halfway down. And one more time, go ahead and lower all the way down to your belly. Uncurl your feet, hands underneath your elbows, firm your thighs in, lengthen your low back. Inhale, pull forward and up, cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up, cobra. This time put weight in your hands, lift up a little higher, and exhale, lower down. This next time, inhale, lift up, straighten your arms, lift your thighs, take it into upward facing dog if you feel like, and exhale, lower, or lift up to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good, 3 breaths in down dog. Press more into the inner edges of your hands, find a little clawing with your fingertips. Push and lengthen the sides of your arms, lengthen the sides of your waist. Look at your feet for a moment. And try to flex your feet. Yeah, try to lift the tops of your feet towards your ankles. You'll feel the backs of your heels stretch a little more towards the floor, backs of your legs stretch. Maybe even lighten your toes or lift and spread all of your toes. Yeah, you'll feel that hamstring stretch intensify a lot. And come onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift up, lengthen. Exhale, fold, root down. Inhale, come all the way up, palms together overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Release your arms by your side. One more, just like that. Inhale, up our Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Step or hop back. We'll meet in Chaturanga. This time, yogi's choice. You can lower all the way down, take cobra, or come halfway down, pull into upward facing dog. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Play with gravity a little bit, pushing into your hands, lifting up and out from the floor. And on the bottom of your exhale, come onto the balls of your feet, look forward, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Root down, inhale, come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, and exhale, hands to your heart. Good, Samasthiti. We'll do a little modified Surya Namaskar B. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. And sinking down a little lower, let weight come into your heels. Lift and spread all 10 of your toes. Lean back a little bit, firm your belly button in, lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up, lengthen. Step or hop back. Run through a vinyasa if you like. We'll meet in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, lift your right leg up and back. And we'll find square hips, so both frontal hip bones pointing down. Go ahead and point your foot and spread your toes, and then flex your foot, and then point, and then flex, and point, and flex. Open up your hips, reach your leg to the ceiling, bend your knee. Make circles with your ankle, make circles with your knee, whatever feels good. Just play, warming up the hips. And then straighten your right leg, square your hips. Lift your left heel up, come high on the ball of your left foot. Round your back as you draw your knee towards your chest. Flex your right foot and then step it in between your hands. And come onto your fingertips. Spin your back heel down. Windmill your left arm up, come into warrior 2. Good. And we'll take this warrior 2, the unsquared version, so letting your back toes spin in a little bit. Let your hip points point towards the front left corner of the mat. And then sinking down into warrior 2, find both of your heels, tack them down, squeeze them in towards each other. Firm your belly button in, puff up your chest, be proud. Sink down a little lower. On your inhalation, start to reach forward to the front. And then on your exhalation, look back towards your left hand, reach to the back of your mat. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach forward. And exhale, reach back. Last one, inhale. And exhale, reach back, pause. Bring your left hand down to your thigh. Flip your right palm up, take it to the ceiling, peaceful warrior, inhale. And with your exhalation, windmill both hands down, step back, plank pose, run through Vinyasa. If you like, we'll meet in downward facing dog. And feel free to skip the Vinyasas, rest your arms like Jen is doing. When you're ready, other side, lift your left leg up and back. Square hips, both front hip bones pointing towards the ground. Point your foot, and then flex. And then point, feel the back of your leg engage, your calf, and then flex. Feel the front of your shin, your quadricep engage. 2 more, point, back of the leg strong, flex, front of the leg strong, and then point. And flex. Open up your hips, reach your left leg to the ceiling, bend your knee, make circles with your knee, your ankle, whatever you did last time. And then straighten your left leg, square your hips, come high with the ball of your right foot, lift your heel, draw your knee to your chest, round your back like a Halloween cat, flex your left foot, and then step it in between your hands. Spin your back heel down, take it all the way up, warrior 2. And again, letting your back toes, right toes spin in a little bit, let your hips turn forward to the front right corner of your mat, and then sink down. Root down through your heels, energetically squeeze them in towards the midline so your inner and outer thighs are strong. Sit down a little lower. Firm your navel in, puff up your proud chest. On your inhalation, reach forward to the front of your mat. On your exhalation, look to your right fingertips, reach back. 2 more, inhale. And exhale. 1 more, inhale. And exhale, hold. Right palm to your thigh, flip your left palm up to the ceiling, peaceful warrior, inhale. And exhale, windmill, both hands down, step back, plank pose. And either running through a Vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. And let's take 3 breaths of rest in down dog or child's pose. Let your eyes close. And just notice the shift. So we're starting to move a little bit. The body's warming up. The blood's flowing. Making space in the hips and the side body. Take a round of cleansing breath. Exhale all the way out. And then draw a deep breath in. Fill, hold it. Open mouth, sigh it out. Good, come onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, lift up halfway, find a little cobra in your chest. Exhale, fold. Heel toe your feet together-ish this time. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale. And exhale your hands to your heart. Good, release your arms by your side. We're gonna take that sequence and then start to add to it a little bit. Bend your knees, chair pose, inhale. Sit back, let weight come into your heels. Draw your belly button in, core strong, bring your palms together, inhale. Exhale, twist to your right. Holding this one. Sink down into your heels, firm your thighs together. Good, press your right palm down into your left. Think of finding a little element of cobra and let your chest pull forward towards your thumbs. 2 more breaths. Relax your little toes, 1 more. And with your inhalation, unwind through center. Come back up, chair pose, and exhale, fold over your legs. Open your feet up hip width distance. Bend your knees. Look forward, so you're almost doing chair pose. Really bend deeply, and then inch your belly and ribs a little further down your spine, so your spine gets a little longer. Grab your big toes with your first 2 fingers. And then start to shift your weight more into the balls of your feet and root down through your heels as you fold over your legs. Bend your elbows out to the sides, Padangustasana. Notice as you start to lift your hips if there's a moment when your thighs pull away from your belly. And if so, bend your knees a little bit and think of lifting your thighs towards your belly. So that contact there, that strength in the core, it's going to allow you to keep your spine long, protect the backs of your legs. Your legs will slowly straighten over time as core strength increases. Let's take 2 more breaths. Release the weight of your head. Shake your head no. Nod your head yes. And then release your hands. Inhale, lift up halfway. Heel toe your feet a little closer together. Bend your knees. Inhale, lift up. Utkatasana, chair pose. Palms together. Let weight come into your heels. Draw your belly button in. Shift back. Look up. Exhale, twist to the other side, over to your left. And you're going to hook your elbow either on the outside of your left thigh or on the inside of your right thigh. Sit down low. Let weight come into your heels. And then press your left palm down into your right. Think of finding a little element of cobra as the heart lifts. 2 more breaths. Relax your little toes. Good, 1 more breath. And with your inhale, unwind through center. And exhale, fold forward. Padahastasana, open your feet up to hip width distance. Bend your knees. Inch your belly and ribs forward a little bit. Lift the balls of your feet up and try to slide your fingertips all the way down to your heels. Toes all the way up to your wrists. As you fold, start to press into the balls of your feet. Give the backs of your hands, your wrists a massage. And again, keep your belly and ribs in contact with your thighs as you lift your hips. Press your shins and thighs back. And take 3 more breaths. You can play with pulling your hands away from your feet. Don't actually let them come away, but find an action of pulling that's going to give you a little more of a stretch along the backs of the legs. And then if you want to stretch for the wrists, the forearms, bend your elbows out to the sides, and then turn your elbows towards your shins. Last breath. Release your hands. Walk your hands forward. Step back, downward facing dog. And from down dog, rock forward, plank pose. Shift your weight forward, lower halfway down or all the way down. Inhale, pull forward into cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And from down dog, lift your right leg up and back. Go ahead and open up your hips, bend your knee. Make circles with the ankle, make circles with your knee. This is a moment if any of you at home want to do wild thing or take it into flip dog, go there. Jen's going to go there. I don't know about Priyanka. We'll see. Yep, she's going. Okay. Root down into your hands, your feet. Lift your hips, your heart. 1 more breath. And then make your way back. Down dog split. Lift your right leg high and step your right foot in between your hands. Sweep your left arm up. Warrior 2 with the right leg forward. Spin your back heel down. Let your back left toes turn in a little bit. Let your hips turn forward. On your inhalation, reach forward. Turn your hips forward even more as if they're pointing towards the front of your mat. Slide your left forearm onto your thigh. Sweep your right arm forward and then open up into extended side angle. Feel free to take it into a deeper version with 1 hand down onto a block. Jen's going to be demonstrating that one. Good. Or if a bind is in your practice, you can take a bind. And Priyanka's demonstrating that. Good. And whatever version you're in, root down through the outer edge of your left heel and find a long line from the outside of your left leg through your right ribs and shoulder. Breathing for 3. Good. Let the outer right hip draw back a bit and left hip forward. Lean back. That looks great. 2. And then releasing the bind if you have it. Come all the way up. Good. Straighten your right leg. Make sure your back toes are still turning in a little bit. Hips not square, they're turning forward a little bit. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Send your hips back, stretch forward. Lower the right arm down, left arm up. Your right hand can come to a block as Jen is doing, or the inside of your right hand can float inside the leg. And again, think of letting your outer right hip draw back a little bit, left hip forward. And think of unwrinkling the right side of your waist. So as you stretch your tailbone back and you pull your sternum, your heart forward. Gazing up to your left fingertips for 3. Relaxing your little toes for 2. And then look down. We're gonna take it into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Bring your left hand to your hip. Going real slow, walk your back foot in halfway. Walk your hand forward, bring it to the pinky toe side of your foot, and then start to lift it up. Lift your left leg up. Flex your left foot really strong. Flex, good, Lift your left leg high. Notice the tendency for the bottom hip, the right hip, to want to swing out. Think of scooping your right sitting bone underneath you. Lengthen the right side of your waist. Play with using more core. Come onto one fingertip. Maybe even bring your right hand to your heart. Let's take 3 more breaths. You guys look really strong. 2. And before we go there, visualize warrior 2 in your mind. Bend your right knee. Reach for the back of your mat. Touch down with your left foot. And take it into a peaceful warrior. Flip your right palm up. Inhale. And exhale, windmill both hands down. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Breathe, 3 breaths. Let's take a round of cleansing breath. Exhale all the way out. And draw a deep breath in, fill. Hold it. And sigh it out. Good, other side. Before we go there, I'm glad I mentioned it. Before we go there, just close your eyes, scan your body, notice if you can feel a difference between the right and left side. We just did a lot of opening in the hips, the side body. Just be able to feel a little more spaciousness. And now let's even that out. Lift your left leg up and back. Open up your hips, bend your knee. If you did wild thing, flip dog on the other side, go ahead and take it over here. Ball of your left foot comes down. Keep your left heel lifted. Lift your hips, lift your heart, 1 more breath. And then make your way back, left hand down. We'll all meet in down dog split. Lift your left leg high and step your left foot in between your hands. Spin your back heel down, warrior 2, windmill all the way up. Allowing your back toes to spin in a little bit, hips point forward. Root down through your heels, get firm in your legs, and then on your inhalation, reach forward. Let your hips turn even more to the front of your mat. Float your left forearm down to your thigh. Sweep your right arm forward, taking it into Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So staying here, if you took it down to the floor or a block, go there, or a bind. And again, whatever version you're working on, root strongly down through the outer right heel and find as much length as you can through the side body. Let your outer left hip draw towards the back edge of your mat and lean back. Breathe. For 3. Relax your little toes. For 2. And then release your hands if you have the bind. Slowly come all the way up. Straighten your left leg. Make sure your right toes are still angling in. They might have migrated. Straighten both legs. Root down, lift up tall. Stretch your hips to the back as you pull your chest, your sternum forward. Floating left arm down, right arm up. And again, not trying to square your hips open to the side. Let your outer left hip crease pull back a little bit. And think about lengthening or unwrinkling the whole left side of your waist. Breathing for 3. 2. And look down, right hand to your hip. Walk your back foot in halfway for balancing half moon. Slide your hand forward, take a block with you if you feel free. And then lift your right foot up. Strong flex in your right foot. The more juice you can put in your right foot, the better. Notice if your left hip is kind of winging out to the side. Scoop your left sitting bone underneath you. Good. And then lengthen the whole left side of your waist. Good. Maybe come onto one fingertip. Maybe bring your hand to your heart. Juice up your foot, lift it. Good, breathe for 3. And 2, before we go, visualize warrior 2. Bend your left knee, set it down, good job. Did we do peaceful warrior again? I think so. Flip your left palm up, take it up, inhale. And then exhale, windmill, both hands down. Good, downward facing dog. Draw a deep breath in and sigh it out. Let your eyes close for a moment. Notice, now we've balanced out both sides. They should feel a little bit more spacious, a little free. We did a lot of work opening the inner hip, the inner thigh. Now we're going to do a little more work opening up the hamstring, the outer hip. This time, let's walk your hands back to your feet. And then inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. Root down through your feet. Inhale, flat back, come all the way up, Ardha Hastasana. And exhale, hands to your heart, Samastiti. Good. Release your arms by your side. Let's take 3 rounds of cleansing breath. On an inhalation, shrug your shoulders up by your ears. Make fists, scrunch up your face. Open mouth, sigh it out. 2 more like that. Inhale. One more. Hold it for 3, 2, and then let it go. All right, inhale, sweep both arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up, lengthen. Walk out to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up and back. Square hips. Push with your hands. Think of lengthening the sides of your waist. Lift your hips even higher. Stretch your left heel towards the floor. Can you lift your right foot higher without opening up your hips? Really start to feel into your left hamstring. Still stretching your left heel towards the floor. Good. Lift your right heel higher, but stretch down. Yes. And then come onto the ball of your left foot. You're going to step your right foot just 2/3 of the way forward, so not all the way up to your hands. And then bring your hands to your hips. Root down through your feet. Come all the way up to stand. So we're going to have about heel to heel alignment, inner heel to inner heel alignment, with your back toes turning to the top left corner of your mat. Bring your arms out into cactus. And then internally rotate your arms. Bring your hands behind your back, fist pump yourself, or take reverse namaste. Hands and pray. And from here we'll find a little back bend first. Start to lean back, root down through your left heel, and think of lifting the weight of your chest, your torso, up to the ceiling. Draw breath in, and then with your exhalation, start to pull your chest forward, folding halfway. From halfway, send your outer right hip back. And pull both the creases back, and you lengthen your sternum, your heart forward a little more, and then fold over your leg. And let your hands behind your back serve as a reminder. If they start to pull apart, then that's an indication that you're rounding. And if so, lift up a little bit. Find a little cobra in your chest. And then again, as you pull forward, let it be your belly that comes to your thigh first. Relax your little toes. 2 more breaths. Last one. Bring a little bend to your knee, touch down with your hands. Little break before we go into twisted revolve triangle. Wiggle your hips from side to side, whatever feels good. If you like to have a block for this pose, have one handy. You really have to work with those wooden blocks. They're so heavy. All right, bring your right hand to your hip, and then lift your left arm up. Stretch your left arm forward. Reach your left arm straight forward. Good. But start to twist first from your leg. Start to twist your outer right hip back and your left hip forward. And then start to revolve your ribs to the right. And then set your hand down either on the inner or outer edge of your foot. Palm flat if you can. Twisting more through your legs. Right hip back, left hip forward. revolving through your ribs, and then stretch your right arm up to the ceiling. Good, palm facing open to the right. And still twisting, outer right hip back, left hip forward. Ribs, find a little element of cobra, let your chest peek through. Let your gaze come up to your fingertips, 2 more breaths. Last one. And float your right hand down. Both hands down to frame your foot. Step back, downward facing dog. If you want to reset, feel free to run through a Vinyasa or take a breath in down dog or child's pose. Thank you, Jen, for demonstrating the ability to rest. It's one of the hardest things for us to do, huh? And take a round of cleansing breath. Exhale all the way out. Draw a deep breath in, fill, hold it, and with an open mouth, sigh it out. Good, we're almost there to the ground. One more standing pose, well, 2 more, huh? Lift your left leg up and back when you're ready. No rush to join. Square hips. Push with your hands. Find a long line through the sides of your waist. Without opening your hips, stretch your left heel higher as you reach your right heel down. And then come onto the ball of your foot. Step your left foot 2/3 of the way forward. Root down through your feet. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Right toes turn to the top right corner of your mat. Inner heels are aligned. Bring your arms out into cactus or goalpost, and then rotate down, fist pump, or hands in prayer. Little back bend, shift your weight back, root down through your heel, puff your chest up, inhale, and on your exhale, start to pull forward. Pause halfway. Send the creases of your hips back, outer left hip back a little more than the right, and then start to fold forward over your leg. Keeping your palms together, spine long, little element of cobra in your chest. Keep working the outer left hip back and right hip forward. Breathing for 3. Good, 2. And then bend your knees slightly, left knee slightly, bring your hands to the ground. Good. Take a little breather. Twisted triangle. It's not really talked about much, but it's one of the hardest poses in yoga. It requires a lot of focus, a lot of muscles working and opening, so I appreciate the hard work, ladies. All right. Let's see. Left hand to your hip, right arm forward. And get as long as you can through your spine. Reach forward. Start the twist through your legs. Let your left outer hip draw back and right hip forward. And then revolve your ribs to the left and then set your hand down. Palm flat if you can on a block or on the floor. And again, twisting through the legs. Left hip back, right hip forward. Revolving through the ribs and then stretch your left arm up overhead. Let your gaze turn up to your fingertips. And 3 more breaths. And 2. And then release your left hand down. Step back, downward facing dog. And take a rest in down dog or in child's pose. 5 breaths. And exhale all the way out. Draw a deep breath in. Hold it, open mouth, sigh it out. Good, a little more emphasis breathing into your side ribs, your back ribs. Inhale, puff up the backs of your ribs, your shoulders, hold it, and sigh it out. And 1 more like that, inhale. And exhale. Good, walk your feet towards the front of your mat and have a seat. Sit your hips to one side, swing your legs out in front, making our way down to our backs. So reverse tabletop, walk your hands back a few inches. Fingers, turn them towards your hips. Bring your feet to hip width distance. Press down through your feet. Puff your chest up. Start to lift your hips up. Try to lift your hips so high that you can't even see your knees anymore. Turn your gaze up to the ceiling. Evenly press down through your palms, lift your sternum, breathing across the chest, the collarbones for 3. Root down evenly through your feet, even the inner edges, 2. Last breath, and then slowly release all the way down. Good. Whew, okay, we're gonna repeat that version, or if you wanna make it a lot bit harder, you can straighten your legs. I have a little cheat code for this one. Straighten your legs, and then bend your knees a teensy bit, just a teensy bit. Puff your chest up. Lift your hips just a few inches, and then shift your weight forward to get your feet flat, and then start to lift and straighten your legs. It's a lot of work for the backs of the hamstrings, the arms, so this version, or repeat for verse tabletop. Breathing for 3. Root down through the soles of your feet for 2. Lift your sternum 1 more breath, and then release down. Good work. Bring your hands behind your thighs. Use your hands as brakes to lower all the way down to your back. All the way down. Arms by your side, palms facing down. Bend your knees. An opportunity for 1 long back bend here, and you can take a full bridge the whole time, 8 to 10 breaths, or if you like, you can take half bridge, take it up to Urdhva Dhanurasana, or I would recommend starting with bridge just to open up the chest and then move into Urdhva Dhanurasana if you like. So heels close to the hips, inner hip width distance, not as wide as your outer hips. Start to press into your feet, tilt your tailbone up to the ceiling, lift your hips up off the mat. Walk your shoulders underneath, lace your hands if you can. If you have your hands laced, straighten your arms, walk your shoulders underneath even more. So it's really easy to dip into the hypermobile low back, the ribs here. Try to stabilize your core by sending your tailbone towards your heels. Draw your navel in, and then lift your sternum towards your chin. Lift your chest towards your chin. Lift your chin away from your chest. Good, you're about halfway there. If you want to come into Urdhva Dhanurasana, lift your hands up, slide your fingertips underneath your shoulders, lift up onto the top of your head. And again, firm the low belly in to insulate the low back. Start to lift up. Notice the tendency for your feet to turn out. If that happens, turn your feet forward. Firmly bring your inner thighs in. Tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Navel in. 3 more big breaths, guys. Y'all look so strong. 2. 1 more breath. Come onto the balls of your feet. Tuck your chin to your chest. If you're in Urdhva Dhanurasana, slowly come all the way down. Good. Little neutral position for the spine. Don't hug your knees in yet. Walk your feet wide. Knock your knees left and right. And then bring your legs to stillness, soles of your feet together, knees wide, Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. 1 hand to your belly, 1 hand to your heart, let your eyes close. Immerse yourself in the inner world, that landscape of movement, of flow, of energy, of warmth, flow of blood. Feel your heart beating. Let's take a round of cleansing breath. Inhale, fill, hold it, and sigh it out. And bring your hands to your thighs. Draw your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And keep your knees hugging in tight. Bring your arms out into a T. We're going to do a really contained version of a spinal twist, so kind of like curled up into a ball to target the shoulders and the upper back. So as your arms are out into a T, keep your knees curling in tight as you drop them off to the right. There you go. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. We'll take 3 rounds of candle breath to make some space here. On your inhalation, breathe into the space behind your heart. Hold it at the top, and then long and slow blow out a candle. Again, inhale, fill, hold, and then blow out. One more like that, inhale, and blow out. Keep your arms out, draw your knees back in. Curl them towards your ribs. Keep them tight as you drop them off to the left. 3 more rounds of candle breath. Inhale, fill the space behind your heart, hold it, and then blow out. Inhale, and blow out. One more breath in and breath out. And coming back in through center. Bring your feet down, knees bent. We're going to come into an easier hip stretch, and then I'll give you an option to go into a deeper version. So starting with thread the needle, lift your right leg up, flex your foot, cross your ankle over your thigh. Pause here for a moment, flex your right foot, curl your toes back towards your shin. Bring your right hand to your inner right thigh and gently give it a press. So pushing your knee out a little more. For some of you, this is going to be enough of a hip stretch. Stay right here. Others, you're going to draw your thighs in towards your chest. Interlace your hands behind your left thigh. And notice what's doing the work. If your arms are doing 90% of the work, your legs 10, switch it. Start to let your left leg do 90% of the work. Pulling in. Soften your shoulders a little bit towards the ground. And you might use your right forearm to press into your thigh to push your knee out a little wider. So this is level 2 of the hip stretch. If you want to go further, it's going to kind of take it up to level 5. And if you've never done upside down pigeon before, you're going to want to go ahead and look at your TV screen because this one's a little complicated. But lift your head and chest up. Jen and Priyanka will both demo. Weave your forearms underneath your right calf, like you're cradling a baby. You guys remember this? You'll weave your forearms underneath your calf. Yep. And then extend your left leg long and let it hover above the mat so it won't quite touch. It's going to hover out this way. Good. Keep pulling. Yep. Reach your chin towards your right shin. Even though your legs are apart, squeeze your thighs together like there's a block between them. Good. Spread your toes so your foot's active. And then close your eyes and see if you can lean back just a little bit. Give some of the effort over to gravity. Breathing for 5. Getting a beautiful stretch on the outer right hip, piriformis muscle, glute med. Breathing for 3. Soften your jaw, your collarbones, 2. And then gently release. And let both legs go long. Pause for a moment in mini shavasana. Just notice all that fresh warmth flooding back into your right hip, all that space you made there. Round of cleansing breath. Inhale, fill. Hold it. Sigh it out. And we'll do the other side. Bend both knees. Lift your left leg up, flex your foot, cross your ankle over your thigh. Pause here. Flex your left toes towards your shin. Bring your left hand to your thigh, gently press your knee out a little wider. Stay here or draw your thighs into your chest. Weave your hands behind your right thigh. And again, notice what's doing most of the work. Start to minimize the work of the arms and maximize the work of the right leg. Pulling in, feeding your left ankle towards you. Little press into your left forearm to send your knee out wider. So hanging out here, stage 2, or taking it up into ludicrous speed, lift your head and chest up, weave your forearms underneath your left calf. Extend your right leg long to hover above the mat. Flex or point both feet. Reach your chin towards your shin. Even though your legs are apart, squeeze them like you're trying to hold a block there. You'll keep your core engaged a little bit, and then close your eyes. Notice parts of your body that are efforting and don't really need to, and start to lean back into that. Soften your jaw. Relax your shoulders back a little bit, your collarbones. 3 more breaths. And 2. And then release. Ooh, good job. Let it go. Draw both knees into your chest. Apanasana, or happy baby pose. Good. So we're going to take it into Shavasana after this. You at home, if you have a little extra time, you might pause the video. If there's something you feel like is missing from your practice, an inversion, a headstand, shoulder stand, go for it, and then join us back here. When you're ready, start to make your way to Shavasana. Final rest. And take up some space. Let your arms and legs spread out. Draw your shoulders onto your back. Let your arms rotate open and your palms face up. And we'll take 3 rounds of cleansing breath. If there's any excess energy on the exhale, I want you to imagine it washing down and out into the earth. Draw a deep breath in, fill, gather it up. Open mouth, exhale it out, release. Again, inhale, fill. Hold, and let it go. 1 more inhale. And release. And for this Shavasana, try to have an in-body experience. We're out of body almost the majority of the day, up in the headspace, so let this be the time for your muscles to slowly soften, release, relax, bones heavy. Just immerse yourself in the sensation of being alive and of letting go.